We are celebrating Meatless Monday this morning, but these meals aren't only vegan, they are gluten-free. But don't worry, they are also flavorful, full of flavor, in fact. This is Allie Marconi. She is a demonstrator from Madison's original hot sauce, and it's really cool because this hot sauce is going to go in all of the dishes today.
Yep.
So we're going to talk a little bit about this in just a minute, but why do you think more and more people are going to a gluten-free vegan lifestyle?
Well, more and more people are actually being diagnosed with celiac disease, as well as finding out that they're allergic to gluten. So having foods that don't have gluten in them is really important to them. So I'm going to break the myth that gluten-free dishes have to be basic and bland. They can be really flavorful.
Yeah, you're doing a vegan-free and a gluten-free, or not vegan-free, a vegan and gluten-free quiche, which I found, you blew my mind. I've been learning so much this morning because all the way down to the pie crust, which is what we're doing right now.
Exactly,
right?
yeah. So in the pie crust, we're going to have part tapioca, part rice flour, some baking powder, and some sugar. And we're going to mix that up. And tapioca flour is really great for gluten-free baking. It lends for a springy texture and a crispy crust, which is exactly what you want when you're baking gluten-free.
And this is the tapioca flour, and it's interesting because you came across this because you were looking for the frozen gluten-free pie crust,
Right,
and it's not out there,
they're kind of hard to come across, and it's actually a little bit easier to make your own. So, you know, even though it is gluten-free, doesn't necessarily mean that it's that healthy. We still have to add some shortening. So we added 2/3 of a cup of shortening to this batch.
Okay.
And we're going to slowly add some really cold water.
Why does it have to be cold?
It has to be cold because the shortening has to stay intact.
Okay.
And we want to also throw in a little bit of vanilla extract in there.
And that's going to give us a little more pop of flavor.
Yeah, really nice. Picks up that sugar and works really well. So we're going to turn that into our dough ball.
Okay.
The thing with the cold water is we don't want to add too much because we can't take away what we've already added, but we can add more if we need it.
Okay. And it's interesting because I love Allie's approach to eating this way because she's like, you know what, I couldn't find it in the store. It wasn't easy, so it's easier to make it yourself.
Yeah, no, exactly. And you know,
and you can freeze it, right?
You can freeze it. It'll last up to a couple of days. So over here we have our dough already rolled out. You want to roll it out to 1/4 inch.
Okay.
And so what I did is for the quiche we used our pastry tin, and I just laid it over the dough and I cut around 1 inch around it. So that'll give us some extra flap for our crust. So Susan, if you want to maybe finish tucking that in, and then I'll get started on our filling.
Okay. And you have the fork holes in it, and that's just going to help it rise?
Exactly. That's actually going to help it prevent from puffing.
Okay.
So over here in our filling, we have 2 cups of mushroom, some
Okay.
carrots, bell peppers, our leeks, which are really great. They can be good for an onion substitute, garlic substitute, some broccoli.
That looks really good.
It's super colorful, really flavorful.
And the good thing about a quiche, once it's all kind of married in there, I think this is a dish that I love quiche. I know it's a little fattening, but it's
It has
yummy.
it has that crispy pastry, which you know it does have that butter or that shortening in it, so it's going to be a little bad for you, but it works great for breakfast. It works great for brunch.
Absolutely, and if you're using this kind of ingredient in it, I mean veggies and the good stuff, then you're cutting out some of the calories.
This is packed.
And
So
go ahead.
we're going to get to what are not our egg filling, but our tofu filling.
Right.
So what I did was I took a pound of firm tofu and I drained it for about 10 minutes. I mixed it then with some umi plum vinegar, which is just a plum vinegar, some sweet white miso, and some Madison's original hot sauce.
Now let's talk about this Madison. What makes this different than most condiments?
Well, it's made with all natural ingredients, you know, which I think with our condiments is you see a lot of those preservatives going on. We don't want that. So Madison's original hot sauce is all natural, preservative-free, gluten-free, vegan, and kosher certified.
Wow.
So we touch on every angle.
And it's named after a president, right?
It's named after President James Madison. Legend has it that when Britain was at war with France, and we're just going to fold this in with the tofu filling, just so you know.
Okay.
When Britain was at war with France, President James Madison, he stocked all of the U.S. ships with hot sauce, so that while his sailors were overseas, they wouldn't have to have bland food.
There you go.
He already felt bad that they were kind of having to be in war against their will in the first place.
Wow, so we get a history lesson and a cooking lesson all in one. I love it. I love it.
So once we have that all trimmed down, we're going to put that in the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes.
Right, and this is going to be our completed
That is our
pie.
completed.
Okay.
And so that's what we're going to pour our filling into.
That looks really good. And again, in case you missed it, instead of the egg, we use the tofu.
Right. And I also added a little turmeric, which gives it that great yellow color, so that when it finishes baking, you'll really get that egg-looking color.
That looks really delicious. I'll take that from
Thank
you.
you.
You're welcome. You finish that up.
You know, and you can do a 9.5 by 1 inch pan, or you can do 4 little 4 by 1 inch pans too.
Okay, well this looks so good. We pop this in the oven for how long, Ellie?
For an hour.
An hour, okay. We're gonna get that going, but you have some other recipes. What are you gonna make for us
so we're going to
next?
show you guys how to do some lunch and dinner dishes.
Oh my goodness, we are just getting started on our Meatless Monday, Terry, and the flavor is all here. Just no meat.
No meat?
I like meat though, but you know what? I'm also finding that going gluten-free is really, really good for you, even if you're not allergic
Absolutely,
to it.
and we have several of the coworkers who are vegan or gluten-free, and I tell you, feel better. They always rave over how their energy is boosted and
I
all of that.
know. That's why I'm super excited to get some tasty recipes.
Yes.